How to Stop Overthinking and Take Action. Written and published by Audiobooks, Part 1, Understanding the Root of Overthinking. Overthinking is one of the most invisible yet powerful forces holding people back from their full potential. It disguises itself as logic, responsibility, and caution, but beneath the surface it is often driven by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong decision. When we overthink, we don't just stall, we sabotage. At its core, overthinking is not a personality trait. It's a habit, one that can be unlearned and replaced with a pattern of clarity and decisive action. The first step to breaking free is understanding the root of overthinking. Why does it happen? What purpose does it serve? And why does it feel so difficult to stop? Overthinking is your brain's attempt to protect you. It seeks to anticipate all outcomes, plan for every scenario, and avoid every possible mistake. But in doing so, it traps you in a loop of inaction. You go over the same thoughts repeatedly without making real progress, mentally exhausted, emotionally stuck, and increasingly anxious. The irony: the more you think, the less you do, and the less you do, the more uncertain and overwhelmed you become. It's a vicious cycle. The elite performers, the doers, the creators, they don't waste mental bandwidth worrying about every angle. They trust themselves, they make decisions quickly and course correct if necessary. They've trained themselves to act in the face of uncertainty rather than being paralyzed by it. To move past overthinking, you must accept this truth: there is no perfect decision. There is only movement and refinement. Every successful person you admire has taken action with incomplete information. They've made mistakes, they've stumbled forward, and that's exactly why they've succeeded. Inaction feeds doubt. Action builds confidence. The real problem isn't the problem you're overthinking, it's the act of overthinking itself. When your mental energy is constantly tied up in what-ifs and maybes, you stop living in reality and start living in fear-based imagination. So how do you shift? Start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Don't try to stop them. Observe them. Notice the loops. Catch yourself when you're replaying the same scenario for the 10th time. This awareness is powerful. It interrupts the pattern. Then ask yourself one question: what's the next smallest action I can take? Not the perfect action, not the complete solution, just the next smallest step forward. Because momentum isn't created by giant leaps. It's created by tiny, deliberate actions repeated with intention. Each small step quiets your mind, grounds you in the present, and builds confidence brick by brick. Also, understand that clarity comes from engagement, not thought. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you move, the more the fog clears. You don't need all the answers to begin. You just need to begin. Overthinking is not solved with more thinking. It's solved by action. Intentional, courageous, imperfect action. This audiobook isn't just about getting you to act once. It's about building a new identity, someone who chooses clarity over clutter, execution over hesitation, progress over perfection. Because your life will change the moment you stop asking what if and start saying let's find out. Part 2. Why clarity comes from action, not thought. One of the most destructive myths we believe is that we need more time to think before making a decision, that if we just analyze the situation a little longer, the perfect answer will eventually emerge. But the truth is, overthinking doesn't create clarity. Action does. When you're stuck in your head, you're working with theory. When you take action, even if it's messy or imperfect, you gain real-world feedback. That feedback, not hypothetical analysis, is what sharpens your direction. Let's look at this practically. Imagine you're standing in front of two doors. You've thought endlessly about which one to open. You've made lists. You've asked friends. You've considered the pros and cons 100 times. Still, you stand there paralyzed. Now compare that to someone who simply opens one of the doors, walks through, and sees what's inside. If it's wrong, they come back and try the other. But now they know. They've moved beyond theory and into reality. They're further ahead, not because they were smarter, but because they were braver. This is the confidence that builds when you take ownership of your decisions, not perfect ones, just forward movement. Perfectionism fuels paralysis. Let's talk about perfectionism, the twin sibling of overthinking. Perfectionism convinces you that if you just think long enough, plan hard enough, or prepare perfectly, you'll avoid failure. But in truth, it guarantees one thing: you'll delay or avoid action altogether. What perfectionism really is fear in disguise. Fear of making a mistake, fear of being judged, fear of looking unqualified. But here's the powerful truth: you learn more from doing it wrong once than you do from thinking about it for a year. Confidence isn't the result of perfect preparation, it's the result of courageous repetition. The think, feel, act trap. Many people live in the trap of waiting until they feel ready before they act. They believe, I need to feel confident before I speak up. I need to be sure before I commit. I need to stop doubting before I move. But that model is broken. The truth is, action creates clarity. Clarity builds belief. Belief drives emotion. You don't wait to feel confident to act. You act your way into confidence. This is how high performers operate. They don't wait until their emotions are perfect. They've trained themselves to act anyway, even when it's uncomfortable, even when they're uncertain, even when fear is screaming. That's not recklessness, it's resilience. Small actions create massive clarity. You might be thinking, but what if I'm not sure what action to take? That's okay. The secret isn't in finding the perfect next step. It's in choosing a small, specific, forward-moving action. For example, instead of thinking about a business idea for 3 months, write the first paragraph of a business plan. Instead of worrying about your fitness routine, take a 10-minute walk today. Instead of researching everything about productivity, block off 30 minutes to do your most important task without checking your phone. These are small moves, but they shift you out of analysis and into engagement. Action shrinks fear. It brings your mind back to the present. It builds self-trust, and it gives you feedback, which becomes your new roadmap. Reframe failure as data, not identity. One of the key reasons people overthink is because they fear failure will define them. They believe, if I fail, I'll look foolish. But here's the reframe that will set you free. Failure isn't who you are. It's simply information. It's the GPS correction that shows you how to get closer to your goal. It's the test flight that reveals what to improve. It's the experience that teaches you more than any book or podcast ever could. Stop tying your identity to outcomes. Tie it to your effort. Tie it to your courage. Tie it to the fact that you moved when others froze. Design a habit of action. If you want to stop overthinking permanently, you must build a daily rhythm of intentional action. Something you do before you feel ready. Here's a simple daily prompt. What is one thing I'm avoiding that I will do before noon today? Keep it small. Make it specific. Do it without negotiation. This single habit, done consistently, will rewire your self-image. You'll begin to see yourself as someone who moves, someone who figures it out on the path, someone who doesn't let fear hijack their day. That identity will transform your entire life. Final thought for part 2. Overthinking is not about being broken or lazy or indecisive. It's a protective mechanism your brain uses to avoid discomfort. But you're not here to live protected. You're here to live activate. And the only way to activate your potential is to engage it with action. Don't wait until it's perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until the fear disappears. Move. Learn. Refine. Repeat. Because clarity doesn't live in your head. It lives in your next step. Part 3. The inner narratives that keep you stuck. Behind every habit of overthinking lies a story, a belief you've repeated so often that it feels like truth. These stories may have started as artist thoughts, but over time they've become internal walls, keeping you small. To overcome overthinking, you must confront the narratives that shape your mental loops. Let's identify the most common ones and how to rewrite them. 1. I need more time to prepare. This belief sounds responsible, but often it's fear wearing a mask. Perfectionists, high achievers, and deep thinkers all fall into this trap. They tell themselves, I just need more time to research, to practice, to be 100%. The people who make bold moves don't have more certainty, They have more tolerance for uncertainty. The solution: replace the story with this: That's progress is better than perfection. I learn by doing, not waiting. Every time you act before you feel fully prepared, you expand your capacity to lead. Because life doesn't reward preparation, it rewards movement. What if I fail? This question is the anthem of overthinkers. It haunts your decisions and paralyzes your momentum. But let's get honest, failure is a part of progress. The most successful people in any field, business, art, relationships, have failed more than most people have tried. They failed faster, louder, and more publicly, because they were in motion while others were still thinking. The reframed belief: failure doesn't define me, it refines me. Mistakes are not a reflection of your identity, they are a necessary tool for mastery. You do not rise by avoiding mistakes, you rise by learning through them. There's 3. I need to be confident first. This mindset creates the ultimate paradox. You wait for confidence before you act. But confidence is only built through action. Confidence is not a prerequisite, it's a byproduct of showing up, repeatedly, even when you're unsure, even when your hands shake, even when your voice trembles. Want to be confident? Do hard things often. Rewire the belief: confidence is earned through action. I don't wait for it, I build it. 4. People will judge me. Social fear is wired into our biology. It's normal to care what others think. It's human. But when that fear becomes the reason you don't take action, it becomes a prison. Ask yourself, whose judgment are you afraid of? Are they living the life you want? Are they even watching? Or are you just projecting fear? Most people are so focused on their own lives, they aren't watching you as closely as you think. The truth: you are judged more for doing nothing than for trying and evolving. You're not here to perform for others. You're here to live fully. I don't want to make the wrong decision. There's a belief that one wrong move could ruin everything. But indecision is often worse than a wrong decision. When you stay stuck in the middle between yes and no, start and stop, you burn energy, lose momentum, and shrink your confidence. Action, even if incorrect, gives you data, and that data gives you the power to pivot. Tell yourself, any decision I make can be corrected. Stagnation is the real risk. I'm not ready. Ready for? Most people never feel ready for the next level because they define readiness as the absence of fear. But readiness is not about comfort, it's about willingness. Willingness to grow, to face discomfort, to act despite doubt. So reframe it. I'm not fully ready, but I'm willing, and that's enough. How to begin rewriting the narrative. To change your thoughts, you must first catch them. Try this: when you notice hesitation, ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Name it. Don't shame it. I'm afraid of looking foolish. I think I need to be perfect. I don't feel ready. Then ask, is this thought moving me forward or keeping me stuck? Reframe the thought. Even if I feel afraid, I can still move. I don't need to feel ready, I need to be committed. Over time you'll weaken the old stories and strengthen new ones. That's how you rewire your mind for action. Action step: thought journal. For the next 7 days, carry a small notebook or open a notes app on your phone. Every time you hesitate, pause or overthink, write down the thought that held you back. By the end of the week, you'll see patterns. Those patterns are your opportunity. You cannot change what you're unwilling to face. This practice makes your invisible scripts visible, and once they're visible, you can rewrite them with power. Final words for part 3. The reason most people stay stuck is not because they lack intelligence, skill, or opportunity. It's because they never challenge the internal stories that run their lives. But you are not most people. You're not just here to take action. You're here to build a new identity, and that identity starts with a new belief system. That clarity comes from doing. That fear is not a stop sign. That forward is better than perfect. That momentum is created, not found. Your mind will always give you reasons to wait, but your life is waiting for you to move. Part 4. Build the identity of an action taker. If you want to permanently escape the trap of overthinking, you need to stop focusing only on habits and start shifting your identity. Overthinking is not just a mental glitch or bad habit. It's part of an identity that you've unknowingly reinforced over time. I'm someone who needs more time. I like to be sure. I overthink things, that's just how I am. These are not facts. These are stories you've accepted as truth. But here's the breakthrough. Your behavior follows your identity. If you want to become someone who takes action consistently, you must start seeing yourself as that person. And that starts by acting in alignment with that identity, even before you fully believe it. Identity drives consistency. Let's take two people trying to build the same habit. Person A says, I'm trying to become more productive. Person B says, I am a productive person. I take action quickly. Who do you think builds more momentum? It's person B. Not because they're more talented, but because they've adopted the identity that supports the habit. That identity influences how they speak, how they plan, how they show up. It becomes who they are. This is how high achievers operate. They don't just do productive things, they identify as action takers. That identity drives how they respond when they feel overwhelmed, scared, or unsure. From I overthink to I decide and act. If you've labeled yourself as an overthinker for years, it's time to detach from that identity. Stop saying, I'm just someone who overthinks everything. Start saying, I'm learning to act fast and trust myself. The words you use shape the way you think, and the way you think shapes how you act. It might feel unnatural at first, but repetition creates reinforcement. And every time you act before overthinking takes hold, you cast a vote for a new identity. Train like an athlete of action. Imagine treating action taking the same way a professional athlete treats physical training. You wouldn't expect to become strong by going to the gym once. You'd go often, challenge yourself, and build strength through repetition. The same is true with your decisions. To become someone who acts decisively, you must practice making decisions and executing quickly. Start with low-stakes choices. You choose your meal without scanning 20 options. Respond to emails without agonizing over the perfect wording. Then graduate to higher-stakes decisions with the same mindset. You trust your judgment when choosing a strategy. Speak up in meetings. Say yes or no without needing permission. This repetition becomes your new normal. And over time, you won't just act. You'll do it naturally. Because that's who you are. Break the loop with the 3-second rule. One of the most powerful tools to retrain your identity is the 3-second rule. Here's how it works. When you catch yourself about to overthink, move within 3 seconds. Whether it's making a phone call, speaking up, starting a task, or making a decision, don't wait. Just move. Speak. Start. Why? Because the longer you wait, the more your brain builds resistance. The first 3 seconds are your window of power. After that, doubt starts talking louder. After 10 seconds, hesitation takes over. After 30 seconds, you're frozen. Train yourself to trust the first signal, not the second guessing. Environment reinforces identity. Want to act like an action taker? Design an environment that supports that version of you. Remove visual clutter. Simplify your choices. Set physical cues that prompt fast movement. Keep your to-do list visible. Set a timer before you start thinking. Put your journal or mic or camera within arm's reach if you're a creator. Surround yourself with people who act. Being around quick movers conditions you to do the same. Don't just rely on willpower. Design your world to match your upgraded self-image. Self-talk for action takers. Start using identity-based affirmations. Not cheesy slogans, commandments for your mind. Repeat daily. I am a decisive person. I move with clarity. I trust myself. I figure it out on the path. I don't need perfect plans. I take perfect steps. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a teammate you believe in. Because ultimately, confidence comes from being on your own side fully. Seikai. Final words for part 4. You will not rise higher than the identity you carry. But identity is not fixed. It's malleable, and every action you take, especially the uncomfortable ones, becomes a brick in the new identity you're building. This is your truth now. You are someone who acts. You are someone who trusts. You are someone who executes. Not someday, not when you're perfectly ready. Now, that identity repeated in word, thought and action will shape the next version of your life. Part 5. Design a life that supports action that day. If you want to stop overthinking, you can't just change what's in your head, you must change what's around you. Why? Because overthinking thrives in the wrong environments. Environments full of noise, endless options, clutter and passive influences. But action thrives in clarity, simplicity, intentional design. To truly become someone who acts consistently, you must build a world that supports your decisiveness, not one that constantly overwhelms your mind. In this part, you'll learn how to intentionally design your space, your digital life, your time and your circle, so you stop thinking about what to do and just do it. Your physical space reflects your mental state. Look around your physical environment right now. Is it filled with clutter, distractions and visual noise? Or does it invite calm focus? Cluttered environments create mental chaos. They don't just distract your eyes, they distract your energy. They add micro decisions you don't notice. Should I clean this up first? Where did I leave that notebook? I'll just move these things before I start. Every one of those small thoughts becomes another brick in the wall of overthinking. Now imagine walking into a space that is clean, minimal, and designed with purpose. Your tools are ready. Your workspace is clear. Your focus cues are visible. That's the kind of space that encourages immediate movement. Start with this simple challenge. Remove one item from your workspace every day for the next 7 days. Each removed item frees up not just space, but mental weight. Eliminate decision fatigue with systems. One of the biggest contributors to overthinking is decision fatigue, the exhaustion that comes from making too many unnecessary choices throughout the day. Successful people don't have more willpower, they have systems that eliminate low-level choices. Here's how you can do the same. Plan your days the night before. Don't wake up wondering what to do. Know exactly what matters most before the day begins. Create a simple morning routine. Not 20, just a few clear, energizing actions. Wake, hydrate, move, reflect, start. Simplify your wardrobe and meals. Reduce decisions that don't move your life forward. Use templates. From emails to workouts to to-do lists. The more systems you reuse, the less brain power you waste. Systemizing doesn't kill creativity. It frees it from the burden of overthinking tiny things. Build a digital environment for action. Your digital life is just as important as your physical one, and it's often the silent killer of your focus. Here's how to take control. Unfollow accounts that don't align with your future. If it makes you doubt yourself, distracts you, or feeds anxiety, mute or unfollow. Turn off notifications. Every ping hijacks your mind and delays action. Keep your phone out of sight when working. Out of sight, out of temptation. Limit inputs before noon. Don't start your day with the noise of others. Start with your voice, your priorities. The goal is not to go off-grid. It's to stop being a passive consumer and start being an intentional creator. Shape your social circle. You become who you spend the most time with. If your circle constantly complains, avoids action or overanalyzes everything, guess what you'll absorb? But if you spend time around doers, builders, creators, you'll start to mirror their behavior. Evaluate your environment. A. Who do you talk to daily? Do they energize or drain you? Do they push you to act or talk you into comfort? Sometimes the biggest act of courage is protecting your energy from people who don't align with your goal. Upgrade your environment by upgrading your circle. Even if that means starting small. Follow people who take action. Join communities where momentum is normal. Find one accountability partner and check in weekly. You don't need a huge support system, just a deliberate one. Set triggers that activate you. The most powerful environments don't just reduce friction, They prompt action. This is where behavioral cues come in. A cue is anything that reminds your brain, this is who I am, this is what I do. Examples: just do, your journal placed open next to your laptop, a phone lock screen that says act now, adjust later, setting your browser homepage to your calendar or goals page. These may seem small, but they act as mental anchors that reset your focus and reinforce your identity. Overthinking is a habit, but so is taking action, and small visual cues can help you choose the latter every single time. Final words for part 5. Your mind doesn't operate in a vacuum. It responds to your world, the noise, the people, the tools, the inputs. They're all shaping how fast you move or how long you hesitate. Want to stop overthinking? Then build an environment that makes action your default, not your exception. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your systems. Design systems and spaces that reflect your future self. When your world is aligned, action becomes automatic, not forced, not exhausting, natural. Part 6. Master the art of imperfect action. Most people stay stuck because they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of themselves to show up. But here's the hard truth. Perfection is a lie that kills momentum. Overthinking feeds on your desire to get everything right the first time. It convinces you that taking action is dangerous unless you're sure. But success doesn't come from perfect steps. It comes from consistent, imperfect movement. This part is about freeing yourself from the prison of perfectionism and learning to master the skill that separates dreamers from doers. Imperfect action. The high cost of perfection. Let's get something straight. Perfection isn't the pursuit of excellence. It's the fear of being seen as flawed. And fear, when left unchallenged, becomes a lifestyle. Think of how much you've delayed because of this. Posts you didn't share because they weren't worded perfectly. Projects you never started because you didn't have the right tools. Conversations you avoided because you didn't know what to say. Perfection is not noble. It's paralysis in disguise. It slows your growth, weakens your confidence, and keeps your potential locked behind overthinking. Imperfect action builds confidence. Confidence is not the result of always getting it right. Confidence comes from doing, adjusting, and surviving the moments when you didn't know what would happen. Think of the most self-assured people you know. They're not perfect, they're practiced. They've failed more times than others have tried. They've sent the message, launched the idea, raised their hand, pitched the plan before they were ready. And through that action, they built resilience and belief in themselves. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Action is a skill, not a trait. People often say, I'm just not someone who takes fast action. But that's not an identity, that's a pattern. And all patterns can be retrained. Start seeing action taking as a skill you build, like learning to cook, speak, or play an instrument. It takes reps. You don't need to be fast, you just need to be in motion. And with each repetition, your brain rewires itself to trust movement over fear. Create an action habit loop. To make imperfect action your norm, you need to create a habit loop that rewards it. Use this simple system. 1. Trigger. Set a time, place, or situation that initiates movement. Example, when I sit at my desk at 9 a.m., I write without editing for 20 minutes. 2. Action. Take the smallest, most obvious step. No polishing, no overthinking. Example, I record the first 2 minutes of my podcast even if it's messy. 3. Reward. Affirm the act of moving, not the quality. Example, I showed up. That's the win. When your brain starts associating movement with reward, not fear, you'll act faster, more often, and with less friction. How to lower the activation energy. Overthinking thrives when the start feels too big. So shrink it. Make action so small, your brain can't say no. Examples. Geico. Want to write a book? Just write 1 sentence. Want to start a business? Just buy the domain. Want to improve your health? Just do 10 push-ups. Want to connect with someone? Just send a "Hey, I thought of you" message. The goal is not to finish the task, it's to break the inertia. Once you start, momentum takes over. Practice the 70% rule, used by top leaders and strategists. If you're 70% sure, act. Why? Because waiting for 100% certainty guarantees stagnation. In fast-moving industries and high-performance lives, speed beats certainty. You can refine, improve, and adjust after you've acted, but you can't edit a draft that doesn't exist. So if you're 70% ready, that's your signal. Go. Detach from outcome, attach to movement. Most overthinking comes from obsessing over outcomes. Say to yourself, I take action. That's who I am. What happens after is a bonus. The more you separate yourself from the outcome and attach to the process, the less power fear has over you. Accept messy progress. Here's what no one tells you. The early stages of success are awkward. Action is rarely elegant at first. Movement feels unnatural before it becomes automatic. That's not failure. That's proof that you're growing. Accept the mess. Embrace the discomfort. Celebrate every ugly, imperfect step, because behind every polished result is someone who took imperfect action over and over again. Final words for part 6. Perfection is the silent killer of potential. It whispers, wait. It demands, be sure. It warns, don't look foolish. But action tells a different story. It says, move anyway. It says, you'll figure it out. It says, progress is louder than fear. So ask yourself, do you want to look perfect? Or do you want to live free? From this moment forward, your standard is not perfection, it's motion. You don't wait until you feel ready. You act until you become the version of yourself you've always envisioned. Part 7. Learn to trust your intuition. Most people assume that decision-making is all about logic and data. But the most powerful decisions, the ones that change lives, create momentum and lead to breakthroughs, are often made with intuition. And yet if you're trapped in overthinking, you've probably silenced that voice. Intuition isn't mystical, it's a deeply practical, fast-acting internal guide that works faster than conscious reasoning. It's your brain processing experience, patterns and values at high speed. The more you second-guess yourself, the quieter that voice becomes. The more you trust it, the stronger it gets. This part is about unlocking your intuition, learning to recognize it, and using it to break free from the loop of endless thinking. What intuition actually is. Let's debunk the myth. Intuition is not guessing. It's not magic. It's not emotion. Intuition is rapid, experience-based processing. Think about it. A firefighter senses danger and evacuates seconds before a collapse. A seasoned entrepreneur picks the right pitch within 30 seconds of hearing it. They didn't just guess. They trusted their trained inner system. You have this too. You just need to use it, respect it, and train it. Why overthinking destroys intuition. Overthinking teaches you to value doubt over instinct. You hear a gut signal, a spark of clarity, and immediately drown it in questions. This creates mental noise that drowns out your natural wisdom. The result? You become dependent on external permission, data and validation, and you stop moving altogether. But when you trust your intuition, you make faster decisions, take bold action, and recover from mistakes quicker, because you're in flow. How to reconnect with your intuition. If you've spent years overthinking, intuition might feel distant or even unreliable. Here's how to bring it back. 1. Practice silence every day. Noise kills clarity. Spend at least 10 minutes a day in intentional silence. No phone, no music, no distraction. Just breathe. Observe your thoughts and listen. Silence lets your internal voice rise again. Notice first impressions. Your first thought, feeling, or pull in a situation is often right. Start tracking it. After a conversation, ask, what did I feel before I analyzed it? Before you open your phone or browser, pause. What was I going to do? This awareness trains you to spot the difference between intuition and impulse. 3. Use the 3-second rule. Again, The best time to act on intuition is before your rational brain kicks in. When you feel the urge to speak, send, create or move, act within 3 seconds. After that, fear usually wins. Test intuition in small decisions. You don't need to trust your gut on huge life choices first. Start with low-stakes decisions. What to eat, which route to take, what project to prioritize, who to call first today. Act on instinct and observe the result. The more reps you take, the more your brain learns that trusting yourself leads to positive results. You're building self-trust, one small move at a time. Intuition versus anxiety. A common question is, how do I know if it's intuition or just fear? Here's how to tell. Intuition feels calm, clear, and light. It nudges. Anxiety feels loud, urgent, and heavy. It pressures. If the voice says move but feels centered, it's likely intuition. If it screams act now or everything will go wrong, that's anxiety. Practice tuning into the feeling of each. You'll sharpen your discernment over time. Create space to hear your inner voice. Modern life is full of distractions designed to keep you from hearing yourself. Algorithms feed you opinions. Notifications fill every silence. Endless content buries your own voice. To hear your intuition, you must reduce input. Try these. 24-hour digital detox every week. Mute people you don't align with. Journal before consuming content. Go for walks without your phone. In that space you'll begin to hear what you really want, what excites you, what your next step is. Affirmations to rebuild inner trust. Use daily affirmations to remind yourself that you can trust your instincts. I already know more than I think I do. I trust myself to figure it out. My first step doesn't need permission. Say them out loud. Write them. Repeat them when in doubt. This repetition builds a new belief system, one based on self-leadership. Final words for part 7. You've spent too long thinking your way into circles, but deep down, you've always known what to do. You've always felt the pull. You've always had the answer. You don't need to become someone else to act. You just need to reconnect with the real you, the one who already knows. So here's your next shift. From analysis to alignment. From hesitation to inner clarity. From overthinking to inner trust. Your intuition is your power. Use it. Part 8. Turn clarity into consistent action. Reasons. You've learned how to silence noise, challenge perfectionism, and rebuild trust in your intuition. Now comes the real transformation. Turning clarity into consistent action. Many people have breakthroughs in clarity, moments where they know what they need to do, but they still don't move. Why? Because clarity alone isn't enough. You must create a system of execution. One that makes action your default behavior, not a once-in-a-while breakthrough. This part is about building the inner and outer frameworks that turn your thoughts into action. Every single day. Why clarity fades without execution. Have you ever had a moment of absolute certainty? I'm going to start this project. Need to make this change. This is what I want. And then, nothing happens. You wait a few days. Life distracts you. Doubt creeps in. You begin questioning that clarity. Suddenly you're back in the loop of overthinking. Clarity without movement leads to confusion. Movement sustains and sharpens clarity. This is why people feel stuck. Not because they lack direction, but because they don't act on direction fast enough. The daily action identity. To consistently take action. Stop identifying as someone who's trying to figure it out. Start identifying as someone who executes no matter what. Say this to yourself. I don't just get inspired, I move. I don't just plan, I finish. I don't wait for energy. I create energy through action. When you adopt the identity of an action taker, every moment becomes an opportunity to prove that identity true. Build a 3-part daily execution system. If you want results, you don't need 20 productivity hacks. You need a system you can repeat. Here's one you can adopt today. 1. The rule of 1. Choose one meaningful action every day that moves your life forward. Not 10 things, just one thing that matters. Ask yourself, if I only do one thing today that brings me closer to my goals, what is it? This sharpens focus and removes decision fatigue. 2. The 90-minute deep block. Carve out one 90-minute block of focused, uninterrupted time. No phone, no multitasking, no distractions. This is where you do the thing. Writing, building, designing, reaching out, creating. Protect this time like your future depends on it, because it does. 3. The action log. At the end of the day, write down what action you took, how it felt, what resistance showed up, what you'll improve tomorrow. This creates awareness, reinforces the action habit, and keeps you from slipping into passive reflection. Break tasks into movement pieces. Overthinking thrives when tasks feel vague or too big. Instead of saying, start business, say, walk 30 minutes, slog meals, do 20 squats. Every goal must be broken into visible, winnable movements. If it's not measurable, it's not actionable. If it's not actionable, it becomes thought clutter. Use time, not motivation. Waiting for motivation is a trap. Use your calendar, not your mood. Schedule your action blocks like meetings. Don't ask, do I feel like it? Ask, what time is it scheduled? Professionals don't act because they're inspired. They act because it's time. Build momentum rituals. Use rituals to trigger execution. These are consistent pre-action habits that prepare your mind and body for movement. Examples: start work ritual, close all tabs, play focus playlist, open task manager. Morning ritual, wake, water, journal intentions, deep breath. Creative ritual, light a candle, sit in a certain chair, wear headphones. These rituals train your brain to recognize it's time to move now. Watch out for mental delays. Overthinking often disguises itself as productivity. Let me research a little more. I'll just organize my notes again. Maybe I should take another course first. Be ruthless with yourself. Ask out, is this movement or is this mental delay? Use a simple litmus test. If the action doesn't create an external result, it's likely delay disguised as work. Reward movement, not outcome. To stay consistent, learn to reward the act of moving, not just results. This is how you build emotional fuel. After completing a task, take 10 seconds to write, I keep promises to myself. This small habit rewires your identity as someone who acts. Every time. Final words for part 8. Most people don't need more ideas. They need fewer distractions, stronger habits, and a clear system for daily execution. You already know what matters. The difference now is that you act on it consistently. Clarity without action fades, but clarity with consistent action becomes transformation. From this day forward, don't just think clearly, act clearly. Don't just journal goals, chase them. Don't just plan movement, become it. Part 9. Build an environment that fuels action. You've sharpened your clarity. You've started trusting your gut. You've built habits around movement. But if your environment constantly pulls you back, distraction, doubt, and hesitation, no amount of inner work will stick. Your environment will always beat your willpower. This is where most people fail. They try to be focused in chaotic spaces. They try to stay disciplined while surrounded by noise. They try to take bold action in environments built for comfort. In this chapter, we'll build what the 1% of high-action achievers understand. If you want to change your life, start by changing what surrounds you. Why your environment matters more than you think. Humans are influenced more by what they see, feel, and experience than what they intend. That's why you overeat junk food when it's visible in your kitchen. You scroll for hours when your phone is in your hand. You procrastinate when your workspace is cluttered. You doubt yourself when your circle is negative or risk-averse. You might think, I just need more discipline, but really you need less resistance. A powerful environment makes action easier and overthinking harder. It guides your focus, simplifies your choices, and protects your energy. Step 1. Declutter your physical space. Your external space is a mirror of your internal space. When your environment is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. When your desk is messy, your energy is scattered. When your digital tools are cluttered, your focus becomes divided. Do this today. Clean your workspace. Remove anything non-essential. Keep only tools that support doing, not just planning. This one shift. Visual clarity reduces overthinking by calming your nervous system. It tells your brain, we're ready to focus now. Step 2. Design for focus, not just comfort. Comfort is a silent productivity killer. If your space is too cozy, you'll relax when you need to rise. Create an environment that triggers movement, not laziness. Examples: sit at a dedicated desk, not your bed. Work near natural light to signal energy and alertness. Use noise-canceling headphones or ambient music to minimize mental drift. Eliminate visual distractions. Face a wall, not a window. Design a space that says, we do focused work here. Step 3. Audit your digital environment. Digital distraction is the Gen 1 enemy of decisive action. Your phone, inbox, and notifications are designed to hijack your attention, and overthinking thrives in distraction. Take these steps now. Turn off non-essential notifications. Uninstall apps that don't support action. Use website blockers during deep work hours. Keep your phone out of reach during creative blocks. Don't trust yourself to stay disciplined in a system designed to addict you. Redesign the system. Step 4. Control the first hour of your day. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything else. If you wake up and immediately check messages, news, or social feeds, you've already given your mind away. Instead, build a protected hour that centers you. Example routine: silence, silence, movement, stretch or walk, journaling or intention setting. Clear first task to complete. When your morning environment supports intention, your day becomes about deliberate action, not distraction. Step 5. Upgrade your circle. You're not just influenced by spaces, you're shaped by people. Spend too much time around. Instead, surround yourself with people who take action fast, doers instead of dreamers, encouragers who challenge you, mentors who've already done what you want to do. Your circle is a daily environment. It either moves you forward or pulls you back. Step 6. Build visual triggers for movement. Your environment should remind you of who you want to become, even when motivation is low. Try these. Post your goal where you see it every day. Use a whiteboard to track daily action. Put a quote by your mirror that reminds you of your power. Leave your gym shoes out. Place your journal on your desk. These micro triggers tell your subconscious, this is who we are now. To avoid burnout or procrastination, build intentional zones in your life. Create space where you write, build, and take focused action. Consume space where you learn, reflect, and gather insight. Recovery space where you rest and recharge. Don't work in your bed. Don't scroll in your workspace. Keep boundaries tight, and your brain will perform better in each zone. Step 8. Make movement the default. Want to stop overthinking and start acting more often? Make the path of least resistance the right action. Examples: keep your journal open on your desk. Preload your to-do list the night before. Keep water on your desk to stay hydrated. Place your phone across the room when working. Keep your workout clothes ready near your door. Remove friction from doing. Add friction to overthinking. Final words for part 9. You can't always control your thoughts, but you can control your spaces, and your spaces will control your behavior. Don't try to be a high performer in a low-energy room. Don't try to take bold steps while swimming in distraction. Don't try to build momentum in an environment designed for pause. This is your next step. Design the life that pulls the best version of you forward. Because success doesn't just come from mindset, it comes from placement. Part 10. The end of overthinking. Make action your identity. You've now reached the final stage of transformation. You've learned how overthinking hijacks your life. You've learned how to tot yourself, quiet mental noise, and move with clarity. You've built habits, routines, and environments that support forward motion. But real freedom from overthinking isn't just a result. It's an identity shift. Because at the core of every high performer, creator, leader, and builder is one belief: I am someone who acts. That's what this final chapter is about. Making action who you are, not just what you do. Stop identifying as a thinker. The first reason people stay trapped in analysis paralysis is because they've unknowingly adopted the identity of a thinker. You hear people say, I'm just someone who likes to figure things out first. I'm cautious. I like to understand all the risks. I'm a deep thinker. But often that identity becomes a cage, because while it sounds noble, what's really happening is avoidance of risk, fear of failure, seeking permission, addicted to control. Let this sink in. You don't need to stop thinking. You need to stop relying on thinking. Overthinking is just overvaluing thought over action. Shift from thinking mode to building mode. Here's a powerful mindset shift. Whenever you feel stuck in your head, ask, am I thinking or building? Thinking creates loops. Building creates results. Building is when you write the first page, make the first call, launch the page, send the proposal, film the video, have the conversation. You can think and adjust later, but if you never build, you'll never grow. The power of fast starts. Success is often less about being perfect and more about starting faster than others. Train yourself to shorten the gap between idea and action. If you think of something that feels right, do this. Act on it within 5 minutes. Write it down, set a time, or take the first micro step. You want to wire your brain to associate ideas with motion, not reflection. Start fast, correct later. Make the shift from perfection to progress. Perfectionism is a mental addiction to control, and it feeds overthinking. But action takers understand, done is always better than perfect. Messy first drafts lead to masterpieces. Speed beats delay. Ask yourself daily, what can I finish today that moves me forward? What imperfect progress can I celebrate? What will I regret not doing today? Clarity grows through movement. So do confidence, competence, and self-trust. Build an action ritual for life. You need one ritual, a short sequence that resets you back to motion anytime you get stuck. Here's a powerful one: the 3-move reset. Pause, close your eyes, inhale slowly, label what's happening. I'm stuck in thought. Recommit. Ask, what matters most right now? Move. Take the first visible step. Write, call, speak, walk, open, create. Train your nervous system to stop fearing action and start craving it. Let go of needing to feel ready. The people who move fastest in life have made peace with one thing: they don't wait to feel ready. They understand readiness is a myth. Confidence doesn't come first. Courage does. You act, and through action, readiness follows. Every time you take imperfect action, you tell your brain, we can move, even in uncertainty. That's power. That's freedom. That's what ends the loop. Final affirmations to live by. Say these out loud or write them down every morning for the next 30 days. I trust myself more than my doubts. I don't wait. I move. Overthinking ends where movement begins. You are no longer someone trapped by hesitation. You are the kind of person who acts fast, learns on the move, rests with intention, lives boldly, does the work others only think about. That's who you are now. Because action isn't just a habit. It's your new identity. You're not stuck. You're just one move away. If you ever feel that old pattern creeping in, paralysis, doubt, endless mental chatter, remember this: you are not stuck. You are just one move away from momentum. And momentum is everything. Now go, close this audiobook, and take action. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Because the new you doesn't wait. You build, you move, you win. This concludes your journey through How to Stop Overthinking and Take Action by Audiobooks. Thank you for choosing a life of movement.